time it is!
Thank you all for checking out the C Squared Hour. I'm your host, Chris, bringing you another episode. And if I do this right, it'll be up within a week of the last one. So you're welcome, folks. Maybe not within a week. I haven't looked at the dates. Anyway, let's get right into it. I don't have a whole big spiel to open up. I could talk about my merch store that none of you are fucking visiting, except for a couple. My longtime squareheads are gonna be wandering around asking, where is the other Chris? Here's what I know. Over the past 6, 7, 8 months, he's been on kind of a mission. It's an interesting one. I guess you can see how he got to this level. Anyway, the last 3 months, he's planned on traveling the country. He's had to cash in a lot of money to do this. Not cash in money, but just change it out. He's going to private convenience stores. And if any of you have been to a convenience store, you know anywhere from 2 cents to 10 cents. They basically eat that cost. Because it's worth the time is not worth as much as it is handing 2 cents back to the customer, right? We've all seen it. Now, Chris, like some sort of weird Scrooge at the end of the movie, is going and hanging out at different private convenience stores. And every time there's one of these transactions where the clerk has to give 5 cents difference or 4 cents difference or whatever, Chris sees that. He's hanging out in the back, drinking whatever he still drinks. Obviously, he's not drinking alcohol in public. Wink. See, I had to say wink because you can't see me. He's sitting there, and when he sees one of these 3-cent transactions, he walks up and he hands the clerk the 3 cents. He's thinking, how many of these transactions happen a day? How much of these private convenience stores are they losing based on having to make 6 cents worth of change? That is where his mind goes. He's not going to the chains because you don't necessarily need it at the chain. They have different ways of getting their money back. So he's not too worried about that. It's the private convenience stores that he's really looking out for. And he's run into a bit of an issue. He started in the Orlando area for some reason. I think he wanted to start in a, kind of in a corner and work his way kind of zigzagging up and down. I don't know if you're going up and down. Are you still technically zigzagging or are you zagzogging? Any of my people who know vowels, pick that one up right quick. That's why he wanted to start down in a lower corner of the country. Also, it's going to take longer to get to Hawaii and Alaska, so he's saving that for the end. The problem he ran into in the Orlando area, he's seen way more chains, the 7-Elevens, if you will, than he's seen private convenience stores. And at least the areas he wants to go to. Hence him not flying down to Miami, because he didn't want to go to Miami. Anywho, he's seen a lot more private convenience stores, so Chris is on his way up north. He's hoping he has more luck in northern Florida in the Panhandle area, where most people who end up there, they got lost when their car broke down and are just stuck there. He's hoping to have more luck up there than he did down in the Orlando area. You may hear this and think, oh wow, that's a real nice thing for him to do. What a guy. Slow your roll, people. It's not 100% altruistic. He's only doing this at the he's saying he's only doing this at the private facilities because they're the ones it's going to hurt more. They're the ones that at the end of the year they may not see it on their books, but it did affect their books. While that may be one of the reasons, Chris has a real reason that he's not telling anybody. I think I might be getting him in trouble here because I think he's trying to get tax write-offs by doing it this way. Again, that's why you start in a red state or a locally red state. He thinks he's going to have good luck getting tax write-offs in Florida for helping businesses. So I might be blowing up his spot here. Chris might be fucked out of that tax cut because I'm going to tell my squareheads, mostly in Columbus and DC, still rocking there, what he's really doing. He's looking for money launderers. Not to bust them, not to shout them out, he sees more money laundering as the real barometer of how the economy's doing. If people have more money that they're trying not to get taxed, obviously they're making more money, so obviously you got it. The economy's doing better. And who knows, if he runs one of these businesses well, maybe he finds one of these guys who really takes to him and he finds a place to launder his money. Another reason he's not going to the big places, Chris is of the opinion that the big convenience stores are already laundering money. At least enough where they don't need any help from private citizens. You gotta think, it's one of the few... That and car washes, I think, are some of the few cash businesses left, or the majority of cash businesses left, where money could be filtered in pretty easily. You could say, well, since marijuana is just state by state, they can only accept cash. You're not going to launder money through weed stores yet. Too soon. Too many people still against it. You're not laundering your money there yet. Anyway, that's where Chris has been for the last couple months now. And while it's an interesting idea, I definitely see where he's coming from with it. Speaking of Orlando, this is a odd segue, but if you're a fan, you know why this is a good segue. If I seem a little distracted, I have WWE Hell in the Cell on in the background. Not pay-per-view anymore because it's on Peacock Premium. So, however the fuck that works. I don't know why I still watch the pay-per-view. There hasn't been a real surprise in, 5 years? Everyone who you think's gonna win always wins. No one comes out and steals it. If they come out and steal... It's just... There's not enough surprise. I think the Hardy Boys coming back, 5 years ago? Was probably the last, real holy shit moment in a WWE pay-per-view. Well, what pay-per-views are now. I think that was the last real holy shit moment they've had. So I don't know why I still watch these, but I do. So if I seem to drift off a little bit, just know why. Obviously, before I get into the meat of this, before I really start hammering this away, the invite has to go out. The challenge has to be set. Randy, let's lace him up, buddy. I know you still think you have a chance, which is fine. You don't want to ruin that dream for you. And I know you're also afraid of me. Because even if you have a slight chance, on your best day, it would have to take my worst day. Which can always happen. We saw Tyson in Japan. But Randy, everyone knows you're afraid of me, which is fine. But you're gonna have to accept this or respond to it. really for the benefit of the majority of my listeners, because I'm sure a lot of them are tired of hearing about this. I'm sure they don't like having to listen over and over and over again about how this guy is such a pussy. He's not willing to fight a fat guy with epilepsy. It doesn't make sense. But hey, we're sitting here. Offer's still going to come out. Randy, let's lace him up, buddy. It's there. It's there for the taking. All right, with that, I think I could start the real show. Oh, by the way, assholes, you're welcome for still doing this. I read an article that really that fucks with my head. So, anytime you listen to a new episode, just remember, until you fuckers start sharing this around or reaching out to people to listen to this or buy shit, just know I'm doing this under duress. I am doing this show under duress. I read an article. People are making $18,000 a month just recording white noise on Spotify. That's it. That's all they do. $18,000 a month for white noise. And what the fuck am I doing here? I'm sweating in this small ass office. Well, because I haven't turned the air conditioner on yet. This is our first relatively warm day. The small ass office, trying to figure out something to talk about every fucking week that maybe other people will care about, that I'm not just, that my dumbass head isn't the only one who finds interesting. Consider your download numbers, that's probably everything. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, white noise. Making $18,000 a month. What the fuck am I doing? So not only am I sitting here thinking, I'm working way too goddamn hard for this, I'm also thinking the fact that they're making $18,000 a month on white noise means people would rather listen to white noise than listen to me. Christ, that hurts. My God, if I ever needed a kick in the dick ego-wise, boy did I just get it. But I'm thinking about you, and so I kept doing this. Even though I shouldn't have. Because why the fuck? If you're making $18,000... And I actually got out of bed today. I got out of bed today after seeing that $18,000 on just white noise. How much more do people like white noise than they like listening to me? $18,000 worth. Fucking. I picked the wrong business to try to make money without doing any work. $18,000 on white. Actually, you know what? I picked the right business. I just didn't pick how to do it. There's static all over this fucking place. I can just sit my phone. There's plenty of cell towers relatively close enough to my house. I could sit by or set a recorder next to the cell tower. We're still not sure about the whole cancer thing. I'd set a recorder there and come back in 3 hours. I could have done that and made 18. Maybe I wouldn't have made the 18. Maybe I'm not the best white noise recorder in the world. Maybe I would have only made $10,000 a month. But it's a lot less work than this fucking is. So you're welcome, people. The people who enjoy it, you're welcome. But if you're enjoying this, you got to make sure to share it around, because I am like 6 steps and a stub toe away from trying the whole white noise thing. Just to let you know. $18,000. We're into... Yeah, no segue. Just going into the next segment. Speaking of $18,000 a month... No, that doesn't work. Actually, I wonder how much season tickets are for any of the NHL teams still left in the playoffs. Maybe the $18,000... Not that far off of a... I digress. NHL playoffs. My theory may be busted. Unless Edmonton pulls off a miracle, leave it to a Canadian team to screw up what should have been a sure thing. I've always said if you have a Today Show worthy fan, you're gonna go deep and probably win something. Gary Woodland, the St. Louis Blues, Loyola Chicago, all those had a Today Show fan and they all went deeper than they had to, or should have. So I predicted, since they have the kid who's a huge fan who was fighting brain cancer in their locker room, pumping them up before, the sports Illuminati were going to help them out and get them to the finals. Now they're down 3-0 to Colorado, and I am probably 90% sure that my usual bet is going to be lost. I didn't like it, but I put all my money on Edmonton, which is it's a sure thing. If I bet on it, you're not going to win any. Yeah, it's kind of been true over the last couple of years. I need to stop advertising what I bet on. When I wasn't advertising, I did okay. I ended up in the black, but now that I'm telling everybody. Anyway, leave it to a Canadian team to fuck up a sure thing for me. I mean, maybe not. They're only down 3-0 to Colorado, so they're still... It's not over till it's over. It's not over. What I am going to do, however, by the time I post this, it'll be after Game 4. So, if you just want a quick glimpse of how I'm feeling that day when I get done editing and posting it, look at the title, because I'm going to title it based off what the game does. Once again, I tried to bet based on my... I don't know if it's superstition or conspiracy or a combination of both. I try to bet based on that. I guess it's worked for me more times than it hasn't. Actually, if Edmonton loses, I think I'm 2-2. So, basically a coin flip. We'll see. We will see. We'll see. There's still time. The baseball playoffs are still rolling around. I should have watched the NBA playoffs to see if there was a wonky kid to be the celebrity, to be the Today Show fan. I should have watched it, but I didn't. Edmonton's gonna have to make a big run to make my prediction come true. Once again, another Canadian team letting fans down. I can't believe I'm actually rooting for Colorado in the playoffs. Left in the playoffs, you have Colorado versus Edmonton, and you have the Rangers versus Tampa Bay. This is a weird fucking playoffs for me. I'm rooting for Colorado to win it all currently. In the other series, I'm rooting for the Rangers somehow. Being a Philly fan, there's no reason I should be rooting for New York, but I am that tired of Tampa Bay, more specifically John Cooper. He bugs the shit out of me. I don't know why. So I want the finals to be Colorado, New York, and I wouldn't mind a fucking sweep. Just get this fucking season over with. Philly was supposed to be decent, and they got dicked around, so let's just get this season over with. And being a Mariners fan, I know how to handle this. Get the fucking season over with, get the playoffs over with, and let us worry about the offseason. This year's lost for me. I never thought I would root for Colorado, though. It could be my general disdain for Canada. I don't necessarily hate Canadians. I don't like Canada. I don't like Canada as a whole. I've met plenty of great Canadians, it's the umbrella of Canada. It's their aura. They managed to be a holier-than-thou liberal sanctuary while still being more racist than the United States. You can't really have it both ways. Anyway, speaking of Canada, I'm jumping from sports to, I guess, comedy, quote-unquote, news. A seasoned comedian of 40 years, Richard Ira Voss, was performing in Canada, and as there sometimes is, there was a group of loud, obnoxious ladies in the front row. Happens sometimes. What can you do? Except kick them out, or, as Voss tells security, hey, let me try to save them. Let me try to keep them in the show. Well, he couldn't. And so he said some things may have been a little intense, may have been quite a bit on the racist side for today's whatever. He definitely dropped some things that Native Americans would find super offensive. That being said, you know how you avoid that? Native American or Native Canadian, Native North American, I don't know how they say it up there. Native North American women, you know how you avoid that? Shut the fuck up during the show. That's all you have to do. If you're not being loud cunts during the show, he's not going to say shit. I'm not going to make the argument whether he should have or shouldn't have said what he said, or if it was right. And now the club's taking up for the women and they're trying to distance. I'm not going to go into that argument. What I am going to say is, I mean, look, I have never been, and I've been to quite a few comedy clubs, I have never been to a show where the main announcement wasn't, shut the fuck up while the show's going on. And Voss was nice enough to tell security, hey, let me see if I can keep them around, and it didn't work, and he got angry. The main point is, shut the fuck up. That's all you have to do, and you don't get your feelings hurt. And they walked out, and they got all upset and went to the... Another problem I have with it is, regardless of what you think about why he said, Rich, I understand, a lot of clubs have to give out free tickets to a lot of shows. I don't know if that was a Voss thing. I don't know if they got comp tickets or what have you. But even if you get comped tickets, maybe you should look up who the fuck you're seeing. If you got free tickets to a band, wouldn't you jump on YouTube and say, I wonder what these guys sound like? Why isn't that expected in comedy? It should be. In fact, it should be more accepted in comedy because there's people who are, in theory, giving quote-unquote opinions, whether they're real opinions or not. They sound like opinions. It should be more of a thing in comedy, but for some reason it isn't. But if you go to a concert and you don't like what you see, you can't go up to the front desk and say, how dare they talk about women that way? How dare they use that sort of language during the show? You can't say that and get your money. Unfortunately, look up who you're going to fucking see. Voss, whether you like it or not, his career has been saying the most fucked up shit he can manage to say and still get a laugh out of it. May not have worked this time, but now it's a story because it was people who maybe not pretending, maybe they actually were. Shut the fuck up during the show. That's all you have to do. In this specific case, you don't get your little feelings hurt if you aren't being loud and obnoxious. I actually talked to my buddy about this, who is also very knowledgeable about stand-up comedy and stand-up comedy, and he's actually probably more than I am. And he said, this could have been a great story about a comedian shutting down a bunch of hecklers. But instead, it's just a story about a comedian who is being racist. All due respect. If it was just a comedian who shut down hecklers, it wouldn't be a fucking story. It's only a story because you're not allowed to joke about that shit anymore, regardless of how much they're ruining everyone else's experience, or if they're ruining a show, or if they're ruining... Doesn't matter anymore, apparently. You go to see a guy who has built a career on saying fucked up shit, you hamper the show, and he says something fucked up to you, and somehow he's the problem. I may be only really passionate about this because it happened in Canada. Another one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of Canada is they fined a comedian $50,000 for a joke up there. And the courts upheld it. $50,000 for a joke. They actually think that a joke that they deem offensive, that the government deems offensive, is worth having to pay $50,000 for. So, in a story like this coming out of that country, if this came out of Tallahassee, or if this came out of Oklahoma City, I might, or Minneapolis, I don't want to just name southern cities. If this came out one of the, I might not have the anger, the venom for this. But since it happened in a country where it's okay to fine somebody for a joke, and not just fine them, fucking almost bankrupt them. Actually, I think it would have bankrupted them if the comedy community didn't come around and do the whole... I think that's where most of my anger comes from when I read that headline, when I read that story. But it's still fucking annoying. Oh, I should be able to do what I want. A group of Native American women, regardless. It doesn't matter. And yes, he said racist shit. It could be seen. He says racist shit. If you don't know that going in, don't be drunk and loud in the front row. I have a hard time believing that if it was a group of Native American men and the same shit happened, they would have taken it the same way. I don't know. That's just... I'm skeptical of Canadians... Again, I guess Canada mindset, Canada umbrella. I'm skeptical of that. That was almost the word. I'm also skeptical of women. And you add both of them together, it just... this story rubs me the wrong way in a lot of reasons. For a lot of reasons. I know, I'm sorry. Obviously, I was watching Hell in a Cell before that, so I had a few beverages, and now I'm having more. Go fuck yourself. Some words aren't going to come out correct. That's what you listen for, right? Anyway, not enough people are saying it, and it's only Voss, so this won't be a story much longer. He'll never be able to play that club. Big fucking deal. He doesn't have to go through customs. Cocksucker will still sell out every club on the East Coast. He'll be fine. Like my buddy said, it's a great idea to think that if he hadn't gone racist, it would have been a great story about a comedian shutting down a heckler, or a group of hecklers, or a group of drunk ladies in the front row. But since he went racist, it wouldn't have been a fucking story if that happened. It would have just been another night, and no one would have known any better. I did figure out something, however. Me being called a sexist a lot, I don't mind it. 'Cause by the definition of the word, I probably am. Even though there's not the anger, there's not the hatred, there's not the... as you see with a lot of isms. I figured something out, though. I golfed with my sister and my mother last week. And had a great time. And it was fun, and yada, 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 yada. And then I golfed with a lady this week. And I figured it out. I don't mind golfing with women. Golfing with women is just fine. It's golfing with anybody else. I hate golfing with ladies. This 50, maybe 60-year-old broad shows up $2,000 worth of accessories, not even counting her fucking clubs. She has 3 different types of GPS things and a rangefinder, which tells you exactly how far some. She has a push cart with a electric motor on it, so if she doesn't want to push it, she can just hit the. And then, don't forget the specialized flower putter cover. And then on the first hole, she says, I got used to putting with the flag in, so if you guys don't mind doing that, that would be great. Okay. You're playing with a current college golfer, a former college golfer, and me. None of us gave a flying fuck. We're just out there. And this is inside golf nerd stuff, so I apologize if I lose anyone on this. We all prefer to putt with the flag out, which is fine. I don't give a shit anymore, really. Until there's money on the line, real money on the line. Of course, I'm playing with my dad. Of course, there's always money on the line. You think I'm a fucking degenerate. This bitch shows up with her $3,000, that includes clubs. The $1,500 was just the accessories, because all name brand shit, of course. Oh, and she's also playing the $50, whatever. It's probably your husband's money, spend it however you see fit. I understand that, but if you're gonna make a specific request for something, the bitch didn't make a putt over 2 feet the entire day. But we have to wait for her to finish out before we can putt because she has to have the flag in. We have to wait for her to count her strokes on her little fucking golf abacus. We have to watch her fucking read every putt even though she's gonna hit it 10 feet past the hole. Don't be a lady if you're golfing. Just be a woman. Read the fucking room. See how the other people are playing and go along with it. That's what I fucking do. That's what I have to do when I get thrown with random people. I have to say, this is how they play. I'm on their time. Maybe I should just try to be. But no. If you're a lady, everyone's on your schedule. If you're a woman playing golf, that's not the case. You play along with everybody else. But no, if you're a lady, we're on your time. There's a difference. I figured it out, and this week I had to golf with a lady. Only fucking one in the group who wanted to putt with the flag in and didn't make a goddamn putt all day. I didn't think when I looked at my rundown for this episode, I didn't think that there was going to be a lot of anger out of me, but now I get to hear, and I don't see. I see fun. There'll be at least one more thing I find funny, not that I find angering, or if you're a boxing fan and you talk shit about Floyd Mayweather, you're a moron. You can't talk shit about Floyd. Everybody knows Floyd Money, the guy who took the big fights, the guy who makes everyone else a fucking millionaire, the guy who everyone knows him and they talk shit about him. He came up as Pretty Boy Floyd. No one remembers that, where he's knocking guys out, where he's taking every fight he can. He got himself to the point where he didn't have to do that anymore. He built himself into that person. This is a real quick point I'm making. All I want to say is, if you are talking shit and you only know Floyd Money, you are in essence talking shit about Kobe, number 24, without even acknowledging Kobe as number 8. I think, I was watching the fight. I guess it was Saturday night or Sunday. I don't know what the fuck. There was a holiday. The days are all fucked up. I barely got out of bed the last couple of days after I saw the white noise thing. Watching the fights from Australia. And so I saw Floyd Mayweather stuff popping up. I have one main takeaway from the fight I watched from Australia. Australians fucking rule. Australian sports fans are hilarious. The big fight this weekend, Devin Haney versus Kambosos. I forget what the fucking first name is. It's something Greek. Australian fans, they had between 40 and 50,000 people at this fight. Kambosos is a huge deal down there, which is great. Devin Haney should be a big deal. He beat the... It's a boxing thing. Let's see. Lopez beat Lomachenko. Kambosos beat Lopez. Haney beat Kambosos. So there's a whole weird thing. Kambosos was... But Australia was so anti-Haney, so pro-Kambosos. To show it, they even booed the American national anthem. That's how fucking awesome they are. Like, we are going to be so anti the opponent, we're gonna boo their national anthem. That's fucking awesome. That is real. You know, an American team can never get away with, at a Raptors game or at an NHL game, they can never get away with booing the Canadian national anthem, and Canadians probably couldn't get away with it. Australians, they get a pass. They're Australians. They're gonna do shit like that. God damn. That was hilarious. And that's why, as Americans, as North Americans, we will never be as good as sports fans as at least Australians. Because it will never be socially acceptable to do that. God damn, that was pretty fucking funny. By the way, I'm still gonna say it. I haven't heard a national anthem cooler than the US. You're talking about rockets and bombs and shit. I haven't heard one that cool. Everyone's like, oh yes, let's support the Queen, or let's just be kind to each other, and let's be... No, we're blowing shit up in our national anthem. We're every sporting event you hear about bombs and rockets, and good luck taking guns. That's probably the biggest issue. Oh, this fucking commercial. I don't know if I've said this before on the show, but if I have, it's worth repeating. This is going to cause a big argument. George Harrison is the best, most talented Beatle. I'll let that sit with you for a few seconds. George Harrison is the most talented Beatle. We all know Ringo Starr is not very talented. There's rumors out there that Lennon and McCartney had to do overs. We all know that's the fact. So it leaves you with Lennon and McCartney. John Lennon if you look at where his career and where his lifestyle was going, John Lennon got shot about 6 months before he became a joke. If you gave him time to put out another album, he would have been basically... It's hard to describe. It would be like Prince doing Bjork's album where she just did all the noises. Couple deep music references there. Look them up. Yeah, I don't just talk sports and politics and how angry I am with women. Or Fiona Apple. He was an album away from being a fucking joke. Luckily for him, he got shot. And he died, so he's still a legend. He doesn't have all that shit to taint his legacy. Elvis was on the same trajectory. Elvis was on his way there too. He died young. Luckily. Because he was going to be a joke. And Paul McCartney is just a hack. What's he going to do? Oh, he's going to leave the Beatles and start a band with his wife, who they do the same shit, and then when you go see him live, he does songs that sound like the Beatles, and then just his old Beatles songs. Look at George Harrison's career. After the Beatles, he starts probably the best supergroup of all time, Traveling Wilburys. Actually, not probably. I would say so. If you prove me wrong, that's fine. He was able to stay relevant and stay consistent with new music up until the 90s. He had new music charting in the 90s that didn't sound like any of the shit he did before. He went from My Sweet Lord to I Got My Mind Set on You. He was able to have that range. McCartney doesn't have that shit. McCartney would never have that. It doesn't have that range. He went from the Traveling Wilburys to being able to do fucking 80s and 90s pop shit. And we're sitting here pretending like McCartney or Lennon holds a candle to him. Like I said, Lennon would have become a joke. But he didn't get to live long. He lived as long as he should have. Because he was still able to be a legend. Asylum seekers from Rwanda. Great Britain is sending them back to Rwanda. So yeah, I read that story. It says Great Britain, so they give me Beatles news, and that just reminded me how much better George Harrison was than the rest of them. I just fucking realized something. God damn it, I'm a fucking genius. Rwandan asylum seekers are being sent back to Rwanda with added help from I don't know what services Britain's sending to them. Sorry, I'm adjusting my last beer here. Don't know what services they're sending back with them. I don't know what. Even right now, I'm trying to look into the services and resources they're sending with them, and can't find anything. They just said they're sending. Tough break Rwandans. Rwandanese. I don't know. You get to Great Britain and you think, we're to a new location. We're to someplace better. And this is going to be a new start for us. And what does the government say? You're probably safe enough now, so you gotta head back. Britain, have a heart. Have a heart. I know you don't have a big history of being super cool to people. You're gonna say, whoa, what about? You're thinking 1950s on. I'm talking about the entirety of their history. They've been more assholes than they have been nice. I know you don't have that, but Rwandan asylum seekers in Britain, they're sending them back. They're just sending them back there. And America's the assholes when they say, you don't gotta go home, but you gotta get the fuck out of here. So I'm saying we're not always the problem. We're not always the assholes. They're sending them straight back there and say, well, they're gonna be safe and we have services that we're not gonna tell anyone about that. Come on, guys. I mean, it's Rwanda. You're really gonna send them back there? That's just rude. And these Rwandanese came thinking they have, a new life, or we're going to be out of this god-awful country that other countries just rape our resources, and we have no real government that's willing to help the citizens, and who knows who our government even is. And Britain's like, nope, you're going straight back there. Not only that, we're sending you back there. I mean, England. They make other places. Ship them out of your country if you don't want them, but don't make them go back to Rwanda. I mean, they've invented Spain. Ship them there. They've invented, Greece. What the fuck's Greece been doing ever since their country went bankrupt? I haven't heard news about them. Send them to Greece. Maybe they'll help them. I don't know. Come on, Britain. Be a citizen. Fucking first Brexit, now this, right? And US is the problem. Alright, I should be wanting... Oh, I may go into this further, but a news story just popped up on the ticker. Yes, I'm watching SportsCenter in the background because as I was doing this, Hell in a Cell got over, so I switched channels. Fuck you. Tampa Bay Rays players, there was a few of them who didn't wear Pride stuff. This is the Pride weekend or whatever. I don't mean it to sound like that. I'm just saying I don't know exactly what the reason Pride stuff was being worn this weekend, okay? I'm not against it. They didn't wear pride stuff citing their beliefs. Whatever you think about what they did, they chose the right fucking state to do it. The two teams in Texas, you have Dallas and Houston. Both of those are like the two liberal cities of those. You pick the right state to be there. I highly doubt the fan base is going to come after you. Yeah, the national media might say shit, but I think your fan base isn't going to be affected. So good job. Not protesting the pride stuff. I'm not saying good job about that. I'm saying way to know your audience. The next closest place is Atlanta, and you know you're not getting away with that in Atlanta. Congratulations. You are playing at a place that the local fan base will allow you to be that guy. I don't know where I stand on shit like that. It's like, yeah, you know, I shouldn't have to do this again if it's against my beliefs, but then it's like, dude, just fucking suck it up and wear it and cash your $6 million check. Like, the more money you make, the more shit you should have to swallow. That seems like wow. I said shit swallowing during a pride argument. That probably... Thank God it's the end of this. And that joke is going to be heard by nobody. Yeah, again, the more money you make, the more people you're going to have to pander to. Just shut up and fucking do it. But if you're not going to, you pick the right team to do it with. Because the other Florida team, Miami, you're not getting away with that either. But Tampa Bay, I think you can get away with that without pissing off too much of your fan base. The story, I literally just saw this on the ticker, so the story might come up more, so you might hear it on my next episode. Maybe not, but we're coming to the end of this. This is enough of my talking and nonsense. I say nonsense a lot, too. I want to thank everybody who is a consistent listener, consistent sharer, what's the word? Fucking, god damn it. I have to remember all these fucking social media words, and I get drunk by the end of this, and I forget them all. But thank you for liking, sharing, commenting. I want to thank everybody who does that on a regular basis. I want to thank those of you who are willing to take the extra link and go buy shit from me and share it around. Obviously, if you see and know Randy, let him know the offer still stands. If this episode goes well, that's not true. If I'm not a big, giant, hairy pussy, I will have another episode next week. And like I said, look for the title of this episode, and it'll tell you how my bet went. Yep, I'm ending this at exactly the right time. Thank you all. Thank you all my squareheads. Like, subscribe, share, buy shit from me. Beyond that, I will see you all next time.